of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Temple of America. Act 2. All means are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government because by being a Moorish American, you are part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with full necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Drew Ali, home office, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy holiday. Peace and love.
Islam, brother, and gratitude, peace, and love. Sister Lassell, if you are able to, can you please read the additional laws for the Moorish American?
Islam. I rise and give all praise to the great Father God Allah. I give honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Marcus Messiah Garvey, the forerunners of the Prophet. I give honors to all Muslims on the call and all Muslims around the world. Questionary and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand sheiks and governors and heads of all temples, he said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before acting upon members, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Chief. Act 2. All members are to attend their EBDET meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on the meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case. Then on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his dues must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe as much as he is able to the Moorish uplifting funds because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. If he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I would have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any group, because we're to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a parcel of all of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and mind pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of Father God, Allah. Islam, and happy holy day, Muslims.
Islam, sister, and gratitude. Grand Sheik, if you are able to, can you read the divine warning by the prophet for the nation?
A divine warning by the prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind, to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know the law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship, by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national Constitution of the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners, who were at that time without power, with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So, there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come. Because the great God of
Islam, Grand Sheik, you cut out.
administration of the government being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good, always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with the divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses, but I have traveled in the South and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. From the Prophet.
Islam, Grand Sheikh, gratitude. At this time, I would like to activate the Holy Koran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Circle 7, divinely prepared by Noble Prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest planes of life with his Father God Allah. Know thyself and Allah, theology of Jesus, life and works of Jesus in India, Europe, and Africa, in the land of Egypt. Noble Drew Ali, the prophet and founder of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, to redeem the people from their sinful ways. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy Holy Day, Muslims. I hope all is well. I hope we are all executing our five senses on the high throughout the week, as well as our meditation and prayer throughout the week. And for all Muslims that are celebrating Ramadan as well as Islam on that journey. We will be going over chapter 35 with the Grand Sheikh, Islam, and at that, I do yield the rock.
Islam and gratitude. Before I start on chapter 35, I do want to make sure that I rise and give praise to our Creator, the Most High, our Father God Allah. I extend a divine honors to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali for bringing us our divine creed and nationality, and also extend honors to the forerunner, modern day John the Baptist, and that is our brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I extend honors also to all Moorish leadership, past, present, and future, including but not limited to our Supreme Grand Sheikh, Brother Kenu Umar Bey. And I extend honors to all the faithful Muslims all over the world upholding this holy day. I want to lastly extend honors to all members of Temple 30 and also our guests that are here on the call as well, Islam. And before we get started, I just want to ask us, looks like two people may be calling in for the first time, 2 or 3 people. If this is your first time calling in here, please just state your name and your location. Brother Mustafa L, please, let's start off with you, brother. Let us know where you're calling from and your location. Islam.
Yes, sir. Islam. Yes, I am brother Mustafa L, and I'm calling from Pittsburgh, Mississippi. Islam, love and peace.
All right, gratitude. So also Sister Ashley, let us know where you're calling from, and it just says Mama and Papa Bear for your username. Please let us know also your name and where you're calling from, and I yield the floor to you, Islam.
Hey, I'm Ashley Long. I'm from Saginaw, Michigan.
Islam, sister, gratitude for calling in. Okay, and lastly, where your username says Mama and Papa Bear or Mama Baby Bear, please let us know where you're calling from and your name. Islam, I will ask one more time before you get placed in the waiting room. And if you're not able to talk in the waiting room, you can type. Just let us know your name and location. But if you're able to use your mic, please just let us know your name and location. Okay. Yeah, brother. Yeah, Secretary Jackson Bay. They'll be in the waiting room, but if you wouldn't mind, please reach out to them, try to get their name and location, and we're just gonna keep things moving. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, Islam Morse. So yes, we will be in chapter 35 today. We're talking about chapter 35 from the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. All right, and chapter 35, we're dealing with holy instructions from the prophet, religion. All of these lessons, all of the chapters in our Holy Quran are divine instructions from our Creator through our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We're in 35. And what we want to do, what we've been doing for the last few months, we've just been going over each chapter and going over the metaphysical or the spiritual meaning of the scriptures, and also looking into practical applications, how to apply these lessons to our daily life. Okay, so this chapter, religion, right, is in this Holy Quran for the most part to reinforce the foundation of what you could say in Arabic is called Tawheed. Tawheed is the oneness of Allah. You see that in the very first verse. There's one Allah. So it's reinforcing this. This is the foundation, right? This oneness of Allah. And it explains the correct understanding of worship, reverence, and also understanding divine law. It teaches us as Moorish Americans how to recognize Allah's presence in all of creation. In all of creation, right? Not just in us or just in one thing, but no, in all of creation. We recognize the presence of the Creator. And so in doing so, this makes it so that we will avoid getting caught up in idolatry or having, being misguided spiritually. No one can come around and turn us around, spin us around, and we'll be lost, right? Because we have the foundation. Nobody can come along and blindfold us and then push us in the wrong direction, and we won't know which way to go because we have a solid foundation, right? So it won't be like 30, 40 years from now, we have a bunch of little trinkets and stuff, and we have like pictures of the prophet and we're worshiping him, or we have like dolls and little, statues and stuff like that. No, it's not going to happen. But that happens with a lot of religions throughout the world. It's happened. It's happened like in Buddhism. It's happened with many different religions. A lot of religions from the East. When you go over to India, when you look at their ancient religion with the Vedas, they actually had the belief in the one true Creator. But if you go to India now, they have thousands of gods, and it's confusing. And I'm not knocking the culture or knocking any of that, but that wasn't even the root of what they're practicing. They got away from it. And it happens in so many ways. It happens in Christianity. It happens with many Muslims who practice Islam, right? So we're getting back to the root, the foundation, so that we're not confused, all right? And this is also a reminder of divine order, right? Divine order, wisdom, and justice. So we're urged to align ourselves with the will of Allah for our own betterment, right? For our spiritual and moral betterment. So let's go ahead and go in here. We'll just, since there's so many verses in here, this is like 30. Yeah, we're just gonna do the breakdown as we go through it, right? Okay, just starting off with verse 1. There is but one Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. It's important that we understand that incomprehensible, like we can't really circumscribe Allah. We can't confine Allah, right? Now we can explain that, oh yeah, Allah controls everything. But what does that mean? Because Allah's not even limited to this universe. Allah is not even limited, to the constraints that we think there are. All right. So this verse right there, it affirms the absolute oneness of Allah. There's but one Allah. And it's emphasizing the supreme authority that Allah has over all of creation. All right. So, for us, that's important to understand. So we know what we're actually getting into. If you, want to look in references, you can look in the Quran. You can look in Surah 112, that's chapter 112, verses 1 through 4. And it just says in there, say, He is Allah, one, right? Emphasizing the oneness of Allah. In the Bible too, scriptures, Exodus 20, verse 3, thou shalt have no other gods before me, right? There's no sun god. There's no all this other stuff. And I'm not saying that there aren't entities that are over different aspects of creation. It's just that is not the supreme creator. Just like you are not the supreme creator, even though Allah is in you, Allah is in me. Right? We are all part of something greater. And so, that's, just getting back to that, that would say, so okay, if there's an entity that's over the sun, right, that wouldn't mean that the creator is the sun, as it says in verse 2, right? The sun is not Allah, though his noblest image. So we trust in the sovereignty of Allah in all affairs, right? Understanding that we, surrendering our own ego and our own personal will to our own personal control to divine will, right? There is a creator. We can connect to the creator. There is a higher self that is spirit, that is one with the creator, and it's inside of us. All right. We got away from that, but we all, can turn to divine will. It's within us. Where's the nearest place we can meet Allah? In the heart. All right. So going into verse 2, the sun is not Allah, though his noblest image. He enlighteth the world with his brightness. His warmth giveth life to the products of earth. Admire him as the creature, the instrument of Allah, but worship him not. Talking about the sun. All right. So the sun is this divine sign, but it's not an object of worship. It symbolizes, symbolically spiritual illumination, but it's not the source. So the source doesn't even come from something physical, right? Because this whole physical world or physical existence, physical universe is a part of creation. It was created by the creator, right? So these things are, all a part of creation. All right. You can see that in the scriptures too. This was given to the people in the past. In Deuteronomy 4, verse 19, it says it's warning against worshiping the celestial bodies, right? Warning against worshiping the stars and the planets. All right. Telling the people like, hey, these are reminders of divine power, but never use them as replacements for the creator. Going to verse 3, to the one who is supreme, most wise and beneficent, and to him alone belong worship, adoration, thanksgiving, and praise. So the true reverence belongs solely to Allah, right? We should not misplace our worship. In the Quran, in Surah 51, verse 56, it says, I have not created jinn and mankind except to worship me. Right? Matthew, in the Bible, in Matthew 4, verse 10, just another reminder, says, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. Right? True reverence belongs solely to Allah. right? We can offer gratitude, praise, and devotion, through prayer, doing our righteous deeds and our service to humanity, right? This is how we worship. But understanding, knowing that there's no other, stand-ins for the Creator, right? Let's go verses 4-7. These all can be linked together. Who hath stretched forth the heavens with his hands? Who hath described with his finger the courses of stars? Who setteth bounds to the ocean that it cannot pass, and saith unto the stormy winds, Be still? Who shaketh the earth and the nations tremble? Who dareth his lightnings, and the wicked are dismayed? Who calleth forth worlds by the words of his mouth? Who smiteth his arm, and they sink into nothing? So just a reminder that, the omnipotence of Allah over all of creation. And it's just reaffirming his supreme will, even over nature, over creation. And we get this too in the scriptures when you go into the Bible. Job chapter 38, verses 4-11. Job is saying, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth, right? The creator. They created all of this. They gave it rules, mathematics, and law that it abides by, by the creation, and everything abides by gravity or whatever people want to call it. All of these things operate off of laws, right? In the Quran, Surah 36, verse 82, it says his command when he intends a thing is only that he says to it be, and it is. So for us, right, we must trust in Allah's divine order. As we do this, we know that he controls all aspects of existence. Real quick, Brother Jackson Bay, did you hear from this person that's in the waiting room? Did they ever answer? I was just going to say, if they don't say anything, we'll just remove them. They need to state their name and location. All right, moving forward. We trust in Allah's divine order. Moving forward to verse 8. O reverence the majesty of the omnipotent, and tempt not his anger, lest thou be destroyed. Right? And this is giving an understanding to, like, because you'll hear the scripture saying fear God or fear Allah, right? But the fear of Allah should lead ultimately to wisdom and righteousness, right? It shouldn't lead to anxiety. It's not like thinking, oh, there's a vengeful, angry creator. It's like, no, there are laws. There's actually order to everything, right? Now we have free will, and we're able to go against Allah's laws. We're able to go against what is right. All right? We have that freedom as humans. But when you look in the scriptures, when you go to Proverbs 9, verse 10, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And it's fear not in shaking, quivering in your boots. No, understanding, knowing there's law to how things are supposed to go, right? It's foolish to go against divine order. It's foolish, but we see humans doing this all the time. Even governments, even nations going against divine order, right? They do this all the time. So, moving on. Verses 9-14. I'll stop at 14. The providence of Allah is ever all his works. He ruleth and directeth with infinite wisdom. He hath instituted laws for the government of the world. He hath wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each by his nature conformeth to his will. In the depth of his mind, he resolveth all knowledge. The secrets of futurity lie open before him. The thoughts of thy heart are naked to his view. He knoweth thy determination before they are made. With respect to his prescience, there is nothing contingent. With respect to his providence, there is nothing accidental. Wonderfully he in all his ways. His counsels are inscrutable. The manner of his knowledge transcendeth thy conception. Right? So this, what's being explained in these scriptures is that Allah right, governs all with infinite wisdom. There's no accidents. Nothing is accidental, right? When you look in the Quran of Mecca, Surah 2, verse 255, it shows control, how Allah has control over all things, right? In Isaiah 55, verse 9, it says, "For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways." So for us, in applying to our lives, we must trust divine timing and providence, even when things seem uncertain. We have to trust this. One of the ways that we can begin to tap into this is by doing the work on ourselves. So we have these divine instructions in here that let us know of our true nature. They let us know of our lower and our higher self. And we're being encouraged to do this work to subdue our own carnal nature so that we can begin to what? We can begin to think and move and make decisions from our own higher self. We can tap into this spirit, which is one with the Creator, right? We can tap into this that has infinite wisdom, that does not make mistakes, does not make accidents. We can actually tap into this. And so this is just a reminder for all Muslims, whether you're fasting for Ramadan or not. This is why we do that. We do that to practice, to work on subduing our lower selves. Whether you're praying every day, meditating every day or not, this is why we do it. We don't do it to try to gloat, to try to, shame others or act like you're holier than the next person. We want to pray and meditate every day, even more than once a day. It's at least when you wake up and before you're going to sleep. We want to do this throughout the day because we want to connect to our own higher self. We want to make it a daily practice to take out time to put towards connecting to Allah, so that we're ruling from our higher self. Because when it's saying in here, nothing is accidental, we make accidents all the time. We do things, they don't really turn out the way we want them to do. This happens all the time. But what is this higher self that's inside of us? If we go to chapter 1, go back to the creation and fall of man. Man is a thought of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite, right? Okay. But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed that held within itself the potencies of Allah. Just as the seed of any plant on earth holds within itself the attributes of every part of that special plant. So spirit man, as seed of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of Allah. So as we read through these verses and explaining the omnipotence of Allah, how Allah governs all with infinite wisdom, we hold deep within ourselves the attributes of every part of Allah. Don't ever forget that. So that's why we do the work. That's why we are supposed to be meditating, praying every day. Not saying you doing it all day, but a couple times throughout the day. This is why we do the work. We want to make it easy for us to connect to our own higher self. Because when we're making decisions and moving from our higher self, nothing is accidental, right? Everything is being guided by divine wisdom. We're not making mistakes. And we can do that. It says, we hold deep within ourselves every part, every attribute of Allah. So don't forget this. So when we're describing this, what's in here, we can do the work on ourselves to begin to work and think and act from our own higher self. And what is the higher self? It's spirit and one with Allah. All right. Going to verse 15. Pay therefore to his wisdom all honor and veneration, and bow down thyself in humble and submissive obedience to his supreme discretion. The Father is gracious and beneficent. He hath created the world in mercy and love. His creatures of his hand declare his goodness. and their enjoyment speak of his praise. He clothed them with beauty. He supporteth them with food. He preserveth them with pleasure from generation to generation. If we lift up our eyes to the heavens, his glory shineth forth. If we cast them down to the earth, it is full of his goodness. The hills and the valleys rejoice and sing. Fields, rivers, and woods resound his praise. So just going back to this, going back up to 15. All right. So this is a call to all humanity, right? Right. For us to be humble, to have humility, to have gratitude and appreciation, right? Veneration, appreciation for Allah's creation, right? When we go to Psalms, chapter 19, verse 1, it says, the heavens declare the glory of God. And in the Quran of Mecca, it says in chapter 31, verse 20, do you not see that Allah is subjected for you whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth? So, you know, on a daily basis, we want to show appreciation for nature and all the blessings that we can through praise and service to others. All right. Moving on to verse 19. But thee he hath distinguished with peculiar favor, and exalted thy station above all creatures. He hath endued thee with reason to maintain thy dominion. He hath fitted thee with language to improve thy society, and exalted thy mind with the powers of meditation to contemplate and adore his inimitable perfections. And in the laws he hath ordained as the rule of life, so kindly hath he united thy duty to thy nature, that obedience to his precepts is happiness to thyself. O praise his goodness with songs of thanksgiving, and meditate in silence on the wonders of his love. Let thy heart overflow with gratitude and acknowledgement. Let the language of thy lips speak praise and adoration. Let the actions of thy life show thy love to his law. And there was one thing I wanted to say about 15 and 16. It's in alignment with this. I forgot to say, but you know, when it's speaking about how the Father is gracious and beneficent, he hath created the world in mercy and love. Right? There's so much to be thankful for. There's so much, you know, for us to appreciate and to give, you know, to express gratitude for. But humans have free will and can go against the will of Allah. And they can make it where you think, oh, there's nothing to be grateful for in the world. This world isn't good. This world isn't filled with mercy and love, right? But it's because humans choose to do things that cause harm and havoc. And the rate that we're vibrating at, where we're thinking from, affects everything in this world. Right now, Allah gave us a station, as it was talking about when it's speaking about verses 19 through 22, speaking about how Allah gave us peculiar favor, right? When we look in the Quran, we always speak about Surah 2, I believe, verse 20, ayat 20, where it's speaking in the Quran about the station Allah made man his caliphate on earth. He made us his earthly representative. Another translation is Allah made man his vice regent, his ruler on earth, right? He gave us this incredible station where we have dominion over everything. And it says the same thing in the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Man is the Lord of all the plane of manifest, of protoplasm, of mineral, of plant, of beast, but he gave up his birthrights just to gratify his lower self, right? So we're talking about everything. The manifest, that's the creation, the physical world. The protoplasm, that's the micro, even more than microscopic level. We're talking about, singular cellular beings, the mineral, right? The earth, the plant, the beast, the kingdom of beasts, right? So all of this, we have dominion over everything. And so as man fell, we began to vibrate slower and slower, and to the point where we are physical beings, and where this world is kill or be killed. We made it like that by our mind state, by the way that we think, right? Our vibratory rate slowed down, and so did everything else. It slowed down with us to experience this physical existence with us. And that's why even at the plant level, you have kill or be killed. You have some plants that will, wrap their vines around even mighty trees, and in doing so, they kill the trees over time. And then you have plants that literally are carnivorous, that eat other beings, right? And it's, just takes place all over the world. But I'm just going back to this because, some may look at the world and they don't see the mercy and love, but that's because that's where our mind state is. If we want things to change, we must raise our thoughts up to divine wisdom. And this whole entire physical world will change until, we've graduated from the physical world and we're ready to do something else. So we must do this work. And just going back to this, but he hath distinguished us with peculiar favor, exalted our station above all creatures. Okay? We were given this station above all. So humanity is given intellect, right? And speech, so that we can understand and worship Allah. In Genesis, in the Bible, in Genesis 1, verse 26, it says, let us make man in our image, right? Allah created us in his image and gave us the ability to, or a station where we're over all of this, right? Gave us the capability, and that is above or distinguished, when compared to everything else in creation, right? So we have to use this for righteousness now. We have to begin to change, right? We want to use our station to assist others, to help others. We want to develop our spiritual understanding also through meditation, through study, through prayer, so that we can begin to cultivate our higher capabilities. We have a whole entire, just like we have sight, smell, hearing, taste, touch, we have a whole bunch of other spiritual capabilities that we're not even tapping into, that we can't tap into until we master our carnal self, our meat, carne, meat, right? Our physical intellect. We have to master that. And then as we do that, we can begin to use our higher virtues, our higher capabilities for righteousness. All right. And then moving on, verse 23, we'll do 23 through 28. Allah is just and righteous and will judge the earth with equity and truth. Hath he established his laws in goodness and mercy, and shall he not punish the transgressors thereof? O think not, bold men, because thy punishment is delayed, that the arm of Allah is weakened. Neither flatter thyself with hopes that he winketh at thy doings. His eye pierceth the secrets of every heart, and he remembereth them forever. He respecteth not the persons or the stations of men. The high and the low, the rich and the poor, the wise and the ignorant, when the soul hath shaken off the cumbrous shackles of his mortal life, shall equally receive, equality? Okay, shall equally receive from the sentence of just and everlasting retribution according to their works. Then shall the wicked tremble and be afraid, but the heart of the righteous shall rejoice in his judgments. All right. And so this is letting us know that justice, divine retribution is inevitable. There's no way around it. There's no trickery or deception that gets around it. Even if it looks like it from our physical perspective, looking, people that, as it says here, the high and the low, he respecteth not the persons or the stations of men. There's some people that might be rich and powerful. They think they're getting away with stuff, but there's no escape, right? because we may see things just from the physical perspective and we think that's all there is, but there's far more to this life than even just this physical realm. There's no escaping from divine retribution. In the Quran, when we look in the Quran of Mecca, chapter 99, verses 7 through 8, it says, whoever does an atom's weight of good shall see it, right? Just an atom's weight of good. You're talking about the atom, right? Okay. And then in Galatians, in Galatians 6, verse 7, it says, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And just speaking about how, it's nothing that we do is being wasted, right? Everything's being recorded. Everything is being experienced by the Creator. So there's nothing that can be hidden. So for us, applying this to our lives, we want to live righteously. And we want to know that every action, no matter how great or small, has divine consequences. Even if we think there's no one around looking at us, we want to do what's right. We want to do the right thing. And we want to try to have a positive impact on others as well. Okay? There's no, escaping. There's no hiding. There's no trickery or deception. Nothing that we can do to, get away from our own actions, our own thoughts, deeds, and actions. Okay? And wrapping this chapter up, going to 29 and 30. O fear Allah, therefore, all the days of thy life, and walk in the paths which he hath opened before thee. Let prudence admonish thee. Let temperance restrain. Let justice guide thy hand. Benevolence warm thy heart. And gratitude to heaven inspire thee with devotion. These shall give thee happiness in thy present state, and bring thee to the mansions of eternal felicity in the paradise of Allah. This is the true economy of human life, right? And then just with this speaking on what we should be guided by: prudence, temperance, justice, benevolence, gratitude. It's calling on us to tap into our higher virtues, right? Because the path to eternal joy lies in virtue and also obedience to divine laws. And just the fact that you're here means something inside of you wants to do that work, to connect to your higher self, to subdue your lower self, to unfold Allah within. And there's no ignoring that. There's no escaping that, right? We have to do this work. We're being called upon to do this work because no one else on earth is going to come and do this and show us the right way. We have these divine instructions for a reason, right? So that we can be the strength of Allah made manifest. We can't put that job, that work off on anyone else, right? It's on us to do it. And we look at this is the path, to happiness. Now, when we look in the Bible, look in the scriptures, look at Matthew chapter 7, verse 14, it says, narrow is the way that leads to life. And what it's speaking on when it's saying that is because we have to walk the divine path. We have to, follow these divine instructions in order to truly realize our higher purpose, right? There's no other way, and on a daily basis for us, we want to strive for temperance, justice, for benevolence and gratitude in all our actions. We want to strive for it in our thoughts, deeds, and actions, to call upon our higher self, to strengthen our own connection to our higher self so that we are creating, from spirit, from Allah. And so this chapter is emphasizing, of course, that oneness, that omnipotence, the will of Allah, and it's urging all Moorish Americans to align our lives with divine law. Like that there's no other way. This is why, these divine instructions cannot be left out. Right? Because it's like, look, if we're trying to say we're trying to create a community, or we want to have several communities, Moorish American communities throughout America, right? We already have those all over the place. There's a whole bunch of Asiatic neighborhoods. Okay? Are they cool? Are they like righteous places to live at? Can you leave your doors unlocked in these Asiatic neighborhoods? Is it a good idea? Is it cool for your daughter, say she's a teenager, to be walking around and stuff out in these neighborhoods? You sure she's good? Nobody's gonna be trying to do stuff they shouldn't be doing to her. Like, we already have communities, and also going back to the Asiatic neighborhoods. Are the businesses owned by Asiatics? Right? Do the Asiatics even own their own communities? It's like, no, it's not good enough. And so we can't just say, oh, I'm a Moor now, and do some paperwork or something, and okay, we're good. No, that's not good enough. We have to do this work to subdue our carnal self, our lower self, so that we can fulfill our higher purpose. We're doing this for real. That's why it says this is the true economy of human life. We're creating something for real. And as we do this, eventually the entire world will begin to look at us and want to learn how to do this themselves. And it will make a difference because they'll remember, hey, don't you remember just a few years ago, like, they weren't doing so good. They had gang problems. They had all types of stuff going on in their communities. And look at them now. We will inspire the world. But we have to do this work on ourselves, right? And as we do this work, applying these lessons on a daily basis, now we're cultivating inner peace. Now we're fulfilling our higher purpose, and now we're showing the way, right? Not just for ourselves, but also for all of humanity. Because ultimately, when you look at what our purpose here is, to uplift fallen humanity. So we uplift ourselves, and in doing so, we will uplift fallen humanity, because then others can follow that example. So we want to, make sure we're doing this work to align our daily lives with the wisdom of Allah by following these divine instructions, by taking this on and taking it seriously. We're supposed to hold to this as law. If you're a Moorish American and this isn't law for you, just go on and do something else, man. Stop. Don't even bother playing no games around here, because you're not making it better for yourself, for your family, and definitely not for the rest of us. It's either come all the way in or just go, play around, stick to the ways of Rome. Most of us love the ways of Rome, and we cool with that. We're not really trying to be righteous, right? But we got enough of that in the world. We need Moors who's going to come in and actually, begin doing the work. And so, wrapping this up, want to encourage everyone to make sure that we are practicing meditation and prayer every day, not just once a week, every day. And the easiest way to get started is, giving yourself 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day in the morning when you wake up, and doing the same thing before you go to sleep. Islam. I see Brother Yabe. On that note, I yield the floor to you and Islam.
Islam Grand Sheikh. First and foremost, I'd like to rise, giving all perfect praises to Father God Allah, because without Allah, none of this message would have got to me and everybody here. I would like to give honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because Prophet Noble Drew Ali is the prophet that Allah gave to us in this present day time to give us the everlasting gospel of Allah. Praise is due. And everybody on the call and all Moorish Americans around the world on Holy Day, Islamism. You was reading in this chapter, and it made me go back into chapter, I think this is chapter 18. I had a question about this before a while ago. I just never asked, but I was waiting, and I guess this is the perfect time to ask the question. On 27 of 35 in religion, it speaks about shackles, right? It says, when the soul has shaken off the cumbersome shackles of this mortal life, right? Then if you go back to 18, it says, and in the realm, this is 16, And in the realm of soul unmanifested, the Lord went forth and taught. He opened up the prison doors and set the prisoners free. He broke the chains of captive souls and led the captives to the light. My question would be, at least this would be actually asking you, you're five. When we leave this plane of existence, right, do our thoughts that we create that are outside the bounds of righteousness, are they actually manifesting change to us? So when we leave this plane of existence, when we go to the soul plane, are the other thoughts bounding us in prison? Are we in prison, or those are chains? This is what I'm asking. Are those thoughts chains, are chaining us or binding us while we in the soul plane? I'm just trying to get a better understanding of that. Islam, but thank you for the floor.
Islam and gratitude, brother. I forget which scripture it is in the Bible that says, "As a man thinketh, so is he." Right, but that just lets us know that, when you're talking about these chains and these prisoners, these captives, we're imprisoned by our own thoughts, and so that would even, of course, that's true in the physical world, but it would be even stronger in a higher vibratory existence, which would be the plane of the soul, which means that, the information is shared with us regarding the soul plane, which for those is like, what were you talking about? Of course, when people, when your physical body dies, or we don't even say die, we just say that we go to another realm. We transition, right? There's a veil. We can't see the other side. But what's shared in here with us is that, hey, there's still work to be done, even after we pass on. That's shared in the chapter in chapter 4, when Mathenos teaching John, or ministering to him after his mother dies, letting her know that when her work was done here, right? Just the cord that ties her body, or that ties her to the physical body, is cut so that she may sail on smoother seas. So in the plane of soul, when it's saying sail on smoother seas, it's not as rough, it's not as heavy vibratory, slow, physical as this world, right? So you're still working, you're still alive, you're still having thoughts, you're still moving and doing things, but you're in a higher vibratory rate. And so the thoughts and things that you have still affect you. And so if you're having low vibratory thoughts, you still got work to overcome. Now, when it's speaking about the plane of the soul, the work that we'll have to do in chapter 1, it says, then he will stand untrammeled on the plane of soul, where he must complete his victories. Unnumbered foes will stand before man upon the plane of soul. These he must overcome, yea, overcome them every one. All right? So we still have a lot of work to do. When man has conquered every foe upon the plane of soul, the seed will have full opened out, right? So we still have that work to do to perfect ourselves, to unfold the Creator, okay? And if we didn't learn anything in this lifetime, that's why I was saying earlier too, if you're here, why not come all the way in, right? Start doing this work on subduing your carnal self. Do the work to unfold a law within you right here, so that as you transition, when you are in the plane of soul, right, the accomplishments that you did here, they'll make your work in that plane even easier, because you did the work in the physical plane, where it's even more or it's even slower vibratory, where things are heavier, it's harder here. When John the Baptist's mother died, it said that she will be sailing on smoother seas, and that's true for all of us. So why not do the work now when it's hard? It's just like if you're training to run, or to do some other kind of physical activity, and you're doing it underwater. and you're running underwater as fast as you can, and you know things are moving slow because you're underwater. When you get out of that water, you just take off running, right? It's easier, right? And so that's what it's like being in this physical world. Let's do this work now. Let's do it now so that when we're in the next realm, we don't have chains and all of these things holding us down, especially if we overcome the lower thoughts and things that we're having here, things that we're struggling with or been struggling with for years. Let's go on and do the work and overcome it now. Because it's not just going to disappear. You know, when you transition from here, you didn't know nothing here, you ain't gonna know nothing there, and you still gonna have to do the work because ultimately it lies in you, and we all are gonna unfold the Creator. There is no failure, as it says here. There is no failure for man. We are all gonna do it. We're all gonna do that work. All right, but you know, ain't no point in running around in circles. Let's go on and get it done now. I hope that answered your question, though, brother. Those chains are that you know connected to our own thoughts. Just like just as they hold us down here, it'll also be holding us down in the plane of soul. Islam.
Islam, thank you, Grand Sheik. So the foes are those things then. The foes, the ones that we're challenging, are the thoughts.
Islam.
Islam.
Yeah. You know, and it wouldn't even matter how it would appear. You know, it could be a dragon that you have to literally slay. But it's all coming from our own thoughts. It's all emanating from ourselves. We create these challenges that we have to overcome. You know, it's just like here, it could be greed, it could be lust, it could be all types of things. You know, in the realm of soul, you know, it could be, you know, whatever it is that you have to overcome, it's all emanating from within. You know? And so that should be extra motivation for us to go ahead and overcome these challenges now. Right? So in the plane of soul, instead of having to overcome it, we helping others. We light bringers because we did the work here.
Islam.
Islam.
So would it be far-fetched to say that while we here in the physical plane of manifest, that while we in the Moorish Science Temple of America, is to actually teach us to manifest positive thoughts, so we'll be able positive thoughts so we can master our thoughts here while we in the plane of manifest, so when we get to the soul plane, we're masters at that. Islam.
Islam, yes, and you know why? Because ultimately, this is trying to bring us up to the level of as we have in the earlier chapters in the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, where it's talking about the silent brotherhood. You know, the silent brotherhood that you know wears all white, right? The people who are doing that work, they're doing the work physically here, and they have an understanding, a greater understanding of the spiritual realm, right? And so when they die, you know, we say transition, but when they die, when they wake up, you know, in the realm of the soul, they're not wandering around like not knowing what's going on, you know, still struggling with stuff, just still struggling with things that people are struggling with in the physical world. No, we'll be in the next realm, we'll be guides for others, you know, assisting others to realize their true nature. And especially if you're doing the work here, because like this is like running underwater. This is like, you know, trying to lift weights and stuff like that, you know, with you trying to run, okay, say you got the weighted vest and all that stuff on, and you underwater and you trying to do all this work. When you get out of that water, you running fast, extremely fast. So we want to do it here. Not saying you have to be perfect, but if you can do it here, you can do anything. And so, yeah, in the next realm, we do want to be masters, right? We're uplifting fallen humanity. So let's do the work here to be the greatest version of ourselves we could be. And yeah, in the next realm, we're sailing on smoother seas. Islam. And that's why I think like, you know, for us to be born into this world where for most of us there's not really any guidance, you know, or not that much guidance. And there's so many temptations and things to turn us around and make it where we don't know anything. But you're still here. You're on the right path. And so that means that you maybe have a higher purpose. So let's do this work so that we can be the greatest version of ourselves possible. Islam. And
Yeah,
Islam, I see you, Brother Haynes. You have the floor.
Islam. I like to rise and give Allah the highest of praises and extend honors to our Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and extend honors to all the Moors on the call. And so I wanted to attempt to give my five on the brother's question. And so what I get from that, as far as like carrying like the thoughts to the soul plane, to me, I think some of those thoughts will transfer over and hold us down. The reason why I say that is because there's one part in the Quran that says that where we can solve problems best. And if you think about it, so I don't know, so I haven't like manifested my soul completely yet, far as like knowing the difference between my spirit and my soul and body. But the way that I do take this is just like, say, for instance, I'm gonna use like two examples. So, say for instance, like you in the first grade and learning how to do like addition and subtraction, and say that as far as like your math, whatever, you're not really doing too good in the first grade with your math, but you pass and you go to the second or third grade, but see where you didn't really learn your addition and subtraction is going to catch you when you start learning like how to do multiplication, because now you're in the third grade learning multiplication. You're going to need to use that addition and subtraction, because if you didn't do too well in that, then it's going to, you're going to have to do more work in that next grade. So I look at like the soul plane as like another grade or level. And also we have to remember too that it's going to be something that transfers over, because and our soul and our body were created exactly at the same time. And so I kind of look at like things that happens here is going to transfer over, because just think about like when you have a dream. Now, I don't know, some people know this, but I study dreams a lot for us, like paying attention. Like when I do have dreams, you know how like when you dream, you see all these random people in your dream that you don't know sometimes. But the thing is that the brain is always recording. So those people that you see in your dreams that you don't know, you actually have seen them in life somewhere in time. And so you may have seen like segments like, eventually if you really pay attention, you may see those people again, whether you see them like walking by and passing in everyday life, they may pop up in your dreams. You know what I'm saying? So that's like another part. Or you could fall asleep watching a movie, then that movie will like materialize in your dream, because you're kind of like in a different state of mind when you're dreaming. And that's the kind of that's what I had to add with that. And yeah, that's it. And then with that, I give up the mic.
Islam, brother. Gratitude for sharing. And appreciate you. I want to also go to the chat. I saw Sister Lachey L said chapter 11. That's great observation. Moors, make sure you go read chapter 11 in the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And also, Brother Malik L said, in the Bible it says, if you bind it on earth, you bind it in heaven. And if you lose it on earth, you lose it in heaven. And that's great to right into what we're speaking on as well, right? All the work that we're doing here. Once again, not saying anybody has to be perfect, but the work that we're doing here, the victories that we have here, right, especially over, overcoming the lower self, it affects us in the higher realms, right? And vice versa. If we don't do the work, you're going to have to do it sometime, right? So we, as Moorish Americans, want to have the mindset and understanding that we're more than just the physical body. And it isn't just like, we don't think that, hey, you just live and you die and that's it. We know there's more to it than that. There's way more to it than that, right? It's mind blowing how this really is. And so we understand when it's saying in here, as the brother Islam, as the brother Haynes L said, that there's still work to do, right? Even in the next realm. And so we always find ourselves where we're best fit, to solve problems. And so with this understanding, we want to do the best that we can to overcome the flaws or the weaknesses that we have here, to strengthen ourselves, to be the strength of Allah made manifest. We want to do that work now. We don't want to waste any time. Do the best that we can while we're here. And that's really all that's required of us. Nobody's saying you got to be perfect. We got to be perfect. No, it's required that we do our best to be the best Muslims that we can be. Islam, And on that note, I yield the floor. If there's any other questions or comments, please feel free to speak. Also, for Nicole, please let us know where you're calling from. And then last time I asked the person that says Mama Bear, please let us know where you're calling from and let us know your name. And on that note, I yield the floor. Islam.
Uh, I'm calling from Ohio. I've been in this group several times before. So, yeah.
All right, Islam. Could you let us know in the chat what part of Ohio you're in? And gratitude. And if the person, Mama Bear, if you able to, either in the chat or unmute and just let us know your name and where you're calling from. Islam. Okay.
Hello. Okay.
Islam. All right. Okay.
Islam Grand
Islam,
Islam
brother.
Grand Sheikh, I like to re-rise. And so I did have another question about the verse that you read in chapter 1 that says, so spirit man as seed of Allah held deep within itself the attributes of every part of Allah. And so I was just kind of trying to combine the teaching. So with that being said, it was like Grand Sheikh Tahaka Bay, he had a teaching talking about like a tree, right? He was using like a tree as an example of something else that he was teaching with. So like you know how we have like trees, and so a tree when it grows like an apple tree, it makes apples, and then it has seeds. And so if you take a seed and plant it into the ground, you would get another apple tree. And so it'd be like the same exact thing that it came from. And so with that being said, so with this verse here, would that mean that we have like the same exact power that Allah has with our spirit man? Because we are a seed of Allah, and so the seed reproduces itself. And I was just asking that because of something that I was watching from Taraka Bay. He was talking about something different. But since we're a seed of Allah, you know what I'm saying, it reproduces itself. So would it be like the same exact thing? And last thing too is I think it was Imam Bashir said something similar to this. I think it was him like about 10 years ago. He was, you know what I'm saying, he was on like saw it at the TV. I think he was the one that said that if we rise to our higher sights in Islam, then we'd be able to do the same things as Allah did or something like that. And with that, I give up the mic.
Islam. Gratitude. And so just going to again to chapter 1, the Holy Koran, it says, the human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was full ordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul and of the plane of things made manifest. So it's saying that we, like before we were even physically born into this body, it was full ordained what we're, that we will be the Lord of this physical plane, of this physical reality, meaning that we have full dominion over it, over all aspects, right? Even of the earth. All right. We have mastery and domain over it. And then even in the plane of soul, in the higher plane of existence, right? We have full domain over that. But in order to accomplish that, right? Because we gave up that birthright just to gratify our lower self. We gave up that birthright so that we could experience this physical existence, being born, not knowing our true nature, not knowing who we are, having this free will where we could go against the will of Allah and create mischief and do whatever, right? But that we will one day make that move back towards our true nature, right? We fell so low that this lower self began to be all that we knew. And that Allah, this within us, this higher self, just became a still small voice that we don't even hear. We don't even know it's there. So we have to do that work to begin to rise back up to our true nature. And then, yes, once we do that, the things that we're capable of go far beyond, probably far beyond the understanding even that we have of what we can physically, what we're able to do. Right? Because we do have aspect to higher spiritual qualities, that we don't see people demonstrating. We don't see anyone showing, demonstrating mastery over the earth and over, the animal kingdom and everything else, right? We have capabilities that we don't even understand. We're not even
Right.
beginning to tap into. Islam.
Islam. Yeah. So the reason is why I asked that is because I want to use this as kind of like as a motivating thing to get, what I'm saying? Because those my mind be like fake, like far out there, but I want to use like my higher concepts and what I'm saying, do the things on the lower levels first. Because man, you had that when you gave me that counsel, and you were saying that you got to take care of ourselves first and then get the economic power. So basically, it's like I'm using this as a motivation and just master the things. And it seems like I take all the spiritual knowledge and apply what the prophet said that what we're supposed to be doing. And to me, we more scientists. So I'm trying to use it as a science of, since the prophet already said it, the thoughts and that, words have power. So he already said this stuff. So it should give us a boost in power to, do this. If we apply everything that we're supposed to be doing. And so I'm kind of using this as a method to motivate myself to do things in the physical too. And then get to the spiritual. And the last thing too is ironic that from that conversation we had, I ran into one of your videos on YouTube from the 144,000 that says how to deal with info from the conscious community, and that video helped me out a lot. And I think a lot of people should watch that too. And I had watched it earlier this day, but I didn't finish it. But I learned a lot, and it connected back onto the conversation that me and you had yesterday. And with that, I give up the mic.
Islam. And when you say that, I had to, we've come very far since then when we made those videos. But yeah, one thing I would say is that I think we should just focus, for the most part, focus on building physically, getting businesses and, getting land and beginning to do the things that we need to do to take care of our physical needs, because the higher capabilities that we have will sound far out, even trying to explain or philosophize about what these things could be. And it's no point in even really talking about that stuff because we'll sound crazy. I'll give you an example real quick. I've spoken about this before with just reading some of the ancient Egyptian texts where they talk about some of the things that they were able to demonstrate, where there was a guy who was a hermit, and the pharaoh called for him to come to the the temple because he had heard about this guy having capabilities to do things that no one else could do. And one of the things he did was they were in a boat, and one of the pharaoh's wives or something, she dropped a bracelet in the water in the Nile River, and this guy who was basically he was a magician, he stood up and he spoke a few words, and the tone and everything of how he used it made the Nile River stand up on itself, like the water standing up on itself like stairs, and then they're able to just pick up her bracelet off the bottom of the river where it's all muddy. And the only reason I'm saying that is because he was saying he just had a little bit of the understanding of the knowledge of the ancients. And those ancients would be the people who weren't slaves to their lower self. Right? And so the Egyptians, even with, them being able to create the pyramids and all this stuff, they had a lower self, right? They weren't perfect. They had fallen already, but they had some of the wisdom from the ancients who didn't have a lower self, who weren't fully physical beings. And I'm, just saying that to say, when it's saying in the scriptures in the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America that man was fully ordained to be the Lord of the plane of manifest and the plane of soul, this is the truth. All right? That's the motivation. Like, it goes further beyond anything that we can understand. Right? And maybe you can understand it, but I can't. There's things that we can do, if we fully master ourselves that, go beyond any understanding that I could, fathom of. There's things that we can do that, that nobody is demonstrating right now. Nobody. Nobody on earth. And so, that's another reason why we want to do the work to subdue our lower self. Nobody can rule over people that are like this. Nobody. It doesn't matter how deceptive they are. It doesn't matter how evil they are, how mean and wicked. They can't. Nobody can rule over people that are capable, that are the lords of the whole physical plane of existence and of the plane of soul. It's impossible. People like that were seen as gods by people back in the past. All right. And so that's, that's the direction that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is moving us back into, coming back into our true nature. That's why in the very first chapter of the Quran, he reveals who we truly are. Right? Man is neither the body nor the soul. He's spirit and a part of Allah. And we have all the capabilities, right? All the attributes of Allah. And so that is given to us in the very beginning. So if we're smart, we're looking at that and thinking, man, forget being, being greedy, being all of these other things that come from the lower self. I'm going to do the work to overcome that, to realize my true nature. All right. Islam, I see you, brother Yabe. I yield the floor.
Islamism, Grand Sheik. What I was going to ask is this. I was originally going to ask if somebody was new and they came into the temple and they wanted to know where is the laws, the divine laws to follow? That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question, will it be safe to say if they ask that question, it would be within the holy instructions in here? If we dig inside of here, we can find the actual laws to follow, because it says basically for us to be obedient, we have to follow, right? And it obviously, if we need to follow something, we need to follow the divine laws. So if somebody doesn't know the particular laws to follow, how would you guide them to the answer? Islamism.
Islam. And so that's why it's extremely important that we do actually uphold our holy day, that we're all at the temple on every Friday, every Sunday, no matter what. Because yes, we have laws. Outside of the divine constitution and bylaws, the additional laws, which is here, it's in the back of the our Quran, we have the additional laws and all that in there, right? So it's in the back. There's general laws that's also in the Moorish literature. But outside of that stuff, yes, all of these divine instructions within our Holy Quran would be laws for us. This is law. This should govern our life. This should govern how we interact in the world, how we treat each other, how we treat ourselves, the things that we participate in and don't participate in. This is law for us, right? And these laws is, it says to fear Allah, but these laws, it's not like, look, if we don't abide by these laws, what's the punishment? It's going to be more difficult for you to be your highest self. You're just making it more difficult for yourself. That's the punishment. In reality, it's not even about like, any other kind of punishment. It's like if we don't abide by these divine instructions, we just making it harder to be to fulfill our divine purpose. And so these divine instructions are here for their law, but it's actually what it says. It's divine instructions. Follow these instructions to make it easier, right? Because these instructions, it's not like it's saying do stuff that makes no sense or that goes against your own nature. No, they're all in alignment with our own nature. If these divine instructions aren't in alignment with your nature personally, it's because you're wicked. Like something is wrong. Because like these divine instructions aren't saying go and beat up your grandma, do something that's wrong. No, they're all in alignment with our nature. People that want to do stuff like that, there's something wrong, right? So the laws aren't trying to get us to do anything that's, that's real hard or real harsh to do, right? There may be some things that, it's hard to do as we have bad habits, but it's not like it's against our nature. So these laws really are instructions for us to realize our greater good, for us to realize our higher purpose. And also in doing it, they also help us subdue our lower nature, which we all must do to realize our true nature, which is Allah, right? The higher self, Allah and man. So that's the also like an added bonus in following these laws. We begin to unfold the creator within us. Islam.
Yeah, Islam, I like to read, and I just want to throw a little bit to that. And normally what I would say too with that too is just kind of like from the Christian Bible, how I would say like it says, I think it says, love the Lord thy God with all your heart, and love your neighbor as yourself. And I think Jesus said, and on these two hang all the commandments. And what I would get from that, saying going over to us, of course we have to, the laws is in our divine constitution and bylaws, but the first thing that's on our Quran is to say, know yourself and your Father God Allah, and know that learn to love instead of hate. Because if you know yourself and your God, Father, learn, know yourself, the rest of this is gonna fall into place. So it's kind of like you start off weird and everything else will be fulfilled. And with that, I give up the mic.
Yep, Islam, exactly. Like I didn't I haven't always been following these instructions, and not doing that just made life harder for me. And that's basically how it works. We're not abiding by these divine instructions. We're just making it harder for ourselves. More difficult out here. Islam. So these are really here to get us out of our own way. And on that note, one last time, I'm go ahead and yield the floor. If there's any last questions or comments, Morris, please feel free to speak. Okay, I'll take that silence to mean there's no more questions and comments. So one more time, just wrapping up chapter 35, just reminding us or telling us, uh, affirming the oneness of the Creator, making sure that the foundation is solidified. There's no confusion. We don't worship a whole bunch of other things. We don't have a bunch of idols and all this stuff. Don't matter what anyone comes along saying later on, right? So the true, purpose of religion, is revealed here to us, and it's really all about realizing our true nature and our connection to the Creator, right? And a reminder for us to, to emulate the Creator. This is why we do what we do, and so also just making sure that we all understand where we stand on these things, so that as we begin to create our communities and things that that businesses and things like that, we're creating them from our higher selves. All right. And on that note, Morris, I yield the floor back to our chairman, Brother Kobe Islam.
Islam, Grand Sheik, and very powerful demonstration. Before we go into the closing, I would like to yield the floor for any more questions or announcements. Islam. Islam Morris. Without further ado, I'd like to go into the closing of the meeting. Prophet warns all Muslims to be ready in every meeting. I hereby inform all members they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the street. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their rewards from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans. They do their part in protecting their Prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is instructions from your Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers, divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of times are drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I Noble Drew Ali. And that is why many hearts have turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear. At least they'll be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear more. And every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear more. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temple. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Islam, I am glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me in the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was a joke and unreal. But now since they found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay the divine respects to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nation of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam Moors, I would like to, at this time, go over some divine instructions. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth land which the Lord thy God Allah hath given thee. Come all ye Asiatics and hear the truth about your nationality and birthright, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We are trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the families of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nations of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, and to know of the higher and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Koran of Mecca for the teaching and instructions for all Moorish Americans, etc. The Holy Koran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Know yourself and your Father God Allah, that you may learn to love instead of hate. Every man needs to worship under his own vine and fig tree. The uniting of Asia. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If we are all able to, will you please rise and face the east for the closing prayer? 2 fingers to the right, 5 to the left, feet in 45-degree angle, standing on our square. You do not have to repeat after me. Allah, bind our heart and mind back to our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name, in the 7 Elohim. Amen. Islam, Islam, Islamism. This meeting is now adjourned. Happy Holy Day, Muslims. Peace and love.
Islam, happy holy day, Muslims. Peace and love.
Islam, happy holiday, Mom.
Islam, happy holiday.
Islam, happy holiday, Mom. Peace and love.
Happy Holy Day. Islam, happy Holy Day. Peace and love.